Despite the evil hot dogs, giant bearded face, and shape-shifting baby ducks, Regular Show is a relatable series that appeals to all ages. It strikes a distinct balance between absurd circumstances and real-world problems. In this video, we're going to break down how Regular Show illustrates the current housing crisis in the United States. In The Unicorns Have Got to Go, Mordecai buys a trendy cologne hoping it'll help him win over Margaret, but instead, it attracts a pack of obnoxious unicorns. These unicorns are loud, overbearing, and only interested in partying, with no regard for anyone else's space. They move in uninvited, trash Mordecai and Rigby's house, destroy Rigby's bed, and even tie up Benson. In this clip, Mordecai and Rigby lose control of their home the moment the unicorns arrive. This mirrors how institutional investors and corporate landlords behave in the American housing market. These companies swoop in with enormous capital, buying up homes in cash and pricing out regular families who need mortgages. Like the unicorns, they don't care about the community. They're there to extract value. When investors dominate a neighborhood, housing gets scarce, prices go up, and people get pushed out. Not because they don't want to live there, but because they simply can't compete. The unicorns came to hang out, but what they really did was wreck everything and leave others to clean up the mess. The same thing happens in real life, except the mess is unaffordable rent, skyrocketing prices, and broken communities. In Chili Cook-Off, Benson enters a local cooking contest at the park manager's lodge. The rules are simple. No more than $50 can be spent on ingredients, but things become more complicated when he suspects Jean, the longtime winner, of skirting the budget limit. When looking for proof, Benson stumbles on something unexpected, a line item in the lodge's books showing an unexplained expense of $2 trillion. The number is so large it doesn't seem to make sense. It's not tied to chili ingredients or any clear purpose, just quietly sitting in the background, unacknowledged and unexplained. This moment doesn't change the outcome of the competition, but it does shift the focus. The discovery of the $2 trillion lodge expense points to a financial structure so far removed from everyday concerns that it becomes difficult to imagine how anyone outside that system could participate on equal footing. The lodge, which is supposed to be a shared institution, seems to operate on a scale that has nothing to do with the lives of regular members. It isn't just that Jean is well-resourced, it's that there are systems in place quietly holding and moving amounts of money that individuals like Benson will never come close to. This gap mirrors the current housing market. For first-time buyers, the cost of a home often feels like something they're supposed to work toward with budgeting and planning. But in reality, the entire landscape is shaped by forces far beyond that level of effort. Institutional investors and large financial firms treat houses the way others might treat stocks. They buy them in bulk, often in cash, without needing loans or credit approval. For them, acquiring a property is routine. For regular buyers, it's a process filled with obstacles, saving for a down payment, qualifying for a mortgage, and still struggling to cover monthly payments. The $2 trillion isn't about chili, it's about access, scale, and control, and how those things quietly structure what's possible for everyone else. In Free Cake, Mordecai and Rigby get excited about the idea of eating chocolate cake. They head to the store looking for cake mix to be the easy solution. At the grocery store, a box of cake mix costs $1.50, an amount so small it should mean nothing to them, yet they react as if it's impossible. Their reaction shows us their wages have left them in such bad shape that even a minor expense like cake mix feels out of reach. From there, the schemes begin. Mordecai and Rigby's desperation for a slice of cake mirrors the desperation many Americans face for housing. Just like they scheme and cut corners to get cake, renters and would-be homeowners today are barely getting by in a system where the basics are out of reach, whether that means living with multiple roommates well into adulthood, applying for dozens of rentals only to get ghosted, or patching together side hustles to cover rent hikes. Others gamble with unstable mortgages or stretch their finances so thin that one emergency could knock them out of their home. The cake mix's price, $1.50, parallels how wages haven't kept up with rising rents. Housing, like dessert, isn't rare. It should be ordinary. Yet for millions, it now feels like a luxury. And people aren't failing because of irresponsibility. They're trapped in a system where basic shelter is treated like a prize you have to hustle for, rather than a necessity you should reliably afford. And just like in the episode, the solutions people turn to are rarely sustainable. Sharing bedrooms, maxing out credit cards, or chasing risky loans may get you by for a while, but they come at a cost. Stress, instability, and a constant sense of unease. While Mordecai and Rigby are willing to go to impossible lengths for a single slice of cake, the truth is that in the real world, millions are doing the same, but for rent, not dessert. In the episode Trailer Trashed, Muscleman is hit with a surprise ultimatum: clean up his trailer in 24 hours or lose his home. What starts as a health inspection quickly turns into an eviction threat, which is both arbitrary and impossible to fight. His trailer is dismissed in seconds. He pleads for another chance, but the system is already in motion. This moment isn't just about Muscleman's questionable housekeeping, it's about power. One official's decision holds the weight to erase someone's stability, and there's barely a process. It's the same for many Americans, where a single inspection, dispute, or missed payment could mean losing everything. The trailer may be run down, but it's his, and like so many renters in the US, what Muscleman's really fighting for is the right to stay in the only place he can afford. Even after rallying his friends to help fix up the place, the trailer is failed again, not because it is still unsafe, but because the inspector, as we learn, has a grudge. In the same way, eviction often doesn't come down to fairness or logic. It's about who holds power. Muscleman's story echoes the way tenants often face eviction, regardless of effort. You can make improvements, follow orders, and still be told you're out, because of a technicality or an excuse, or simply because someone in charge wants the land for something else. When eviction is a risk, people go into survival mode. In the episode, Muscleman and the crew go on a defense mission, charging for the border, misleading the inspector, and even risking their lives. In the real world, many people are also going to great lengths to protect their housing. This includes hiding from landlords, fighting legal battles without lawyers, living in vehicles, and lying on paperwork. And another aspect is that even when the inspector is defeated, the crew is exhausted, and Muscle Bro's truck exploded. They won, but at a huge cost. In real life, tenants who avoid eviction often feel the same, temporarily safe, but always wondering when the next threat will come. While Muscleman was able to keep his trailer, in the real world, many renters don't get that happy ending. Over 3.6 million eviction cases are filed in the US each year. And for every one person forced out, there are thousands more living one notice, one raise, or one inspection away from losing their homes. In Trash Boat, Rigby legally changes his name on a whim, then immediately regrets it and tries to undo it. The cost to reverse the mistake? $50, and he can't afford it. In America today, millions of people can't afford even small financial setbacks, much less big life decisions. When you're broke, your choices aren't just limited, they're dangerous, because you can't afford to recover if something goes wrong. That dynamic is a major force behind the modern housing crisis. Homeownership requires savings, planning, and the ability to navigate unexpected costs. Like Rigby, they're stuck, unable to move forward, fix past choices, or afford a better option. Americans who don't have access to intergenerational wealth or high incomes often can't afford a down payment, relocation costs, or even rising rents. And just like Rigby couldn't come up with $50, many Americans are one car repair away from losing housing. Rigby owns nothing but a trampoline and some trash. This reflects a growing demographic in the US, asset-poor individuals who have virtually no financial cushion. For them, housing isn't a market, it's a crisis they're forced to navigate without tools. In this episode, that lack of financial resilience traps Rigby in an embarrassing situation. In real life, it traps people in unstable housing and rising debt. In Benson Be Gone, Benson is demoted, then fired, and quickly spirals into a crisis of purpose. At first, he romanticizes the idea of slacking off, but when he meets Leon, a man who claims he also used to be the park manager, but now lives on garbage compost, the illusion shatters. This moment highlights the reality of the American housing crisis. When people with low or no savings lose their jobs, they risk losing everything, especially their housing. This ties directly back to the previous episode, where Rigby's total lack of assets meant he couldn't even afford a small fix to a bad decision. Here we see the next step. When you're already on the financial edge, losing income can mean losing shelter altogether. Leon's story reflects the stories of countless Americans who are one bad break away from homelessness. Benson sees what that fall looks like. No job, no savings, no safety net, just a bench, a sandwich, and a stranger who used to be him. This episode really demonstrates the dangers of financial fragility. It shows how the American housing crisis isn't just about unaffordable mortgages or rising rents. It's about how millions live so close to the edge that one bad week can turn into long-term displacement. Just like Benson, many people don't realize how thin the line is until they're already across it. From the expensive cake mix worth $1.50 to Benson's glimpse at life after job loss, Regular Show captures the pitfalls of the current state of housing in America. Sometimes it's about wealth and access, like investors snatching up homes the way unicorns invaded the Park House. Other times, it's about how fragile things are, where one inspection, one mistake, or one missed paycheck can set off a spiral. And often, it's just about survival. People doing whatever it takes to stay afloat in a system that doesn't favor them. And while those challenges feel familiar, it's worth keeping perspective. The US still has the strongest economy in the world. It's been through inflation, housing shortages, and recessions before, but each time the economy has roared back stronger. Kind of like regular show. The house gets destroyed constantly, but somehow always comes back the next day. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe if you want to see more of this type of content, and I'll see you next time.